Hey everyone, what is going on? So I have another video for you today in the Spring Cup, and these are battles that I did, and the team is going to be Tentacruel with Lantern and Ferrothorn, and the team did so well for me, it really did. I saw so many Pelipper and Mantine that Lantern really went to town. So Tentacruel, of course, is really strong in this meta. These are battles I did off stream. Not sure if I mentioned that already, but either way, let's go ahead and dive right into the battles and see what we got going on for us. I'm going for the Skull there. Now, I am running Acid Spray right now on Tentacruel, but I do end up switching it to Sludge Wave. I just love the surprise factor because a lot of trainers are expecting Acid Spray on Tentacruel, so the Sludge Wave did well for me when I switch it, and I'm going to go ahead and just go for the Scald into the Ferrothorn. I do see a shield right there, so at least we get a shield. I'm going to go ahead and catch the Power Whip on my own Ferrothorn. So, very nice indeed. Going to be able to absorb that damage. So out comes Tentacruel, but this is really not that bad, right? This is not a bad matchup for us. So I'm going to go ahead and just charge up. My opponent's going to go ahead and throw what I assume to be an Acid Spray. They could throw a Scald, but actually it's going to be Sludge Wave. So I think that's when I decide to run Sludge Wave because my opponent is running it, and I thought it was a great surprise factor. So I do go for the Power Whip. And I'm still going to be able to go for another Power Whip. Ferrothorn is a Steel type in addition to the Grass type, and because Steel is double resisting poison, and the grass typing from Ferrothorn makes it single resistant. So it's still resisting poison attacks. That's why Ferrothorn is great in this meta. Gonna go ahead and see this Power Whip. I'm just gonna let it go, no problem. I do bring in, and now my opponent brings in Empoleon. I'm gonna bring in the Lantern, and of course that is gonna be a good game. I do resist all the moves coming in from that Empoleon. Good game, well played to my opponent. Moving on. Oh, okay. Good matchup for me. Tentacruel into Abomasnow. My opponent switches into Tentacruel. I go into Lantern. I should have went into Ferrothorn. I think I made this mistake a couple of times because Ferrothorn is still resisting the attacks. And, you know, if Tentacruel double shields, it can win this matchup. And I think my opponent does do that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to bait. I'm going to go ahead and go for the Thunderbolt. Because I make it to 2 Thunderbolts anyway. And that's totally fine. My opponent is going to go ahead and go for an attack right now. It is going to be an Acid Spray, and I'm going to be able to make it to another Thunderbolt. Now, my opponent, as I said, could double shield if they want to go down 2 shields, and my opponent ultimately does do that. So that is totally fine because I know a Flash Cannon landing on that Abomasnow is going to KO it. So that's good for me. Which one do I decide to bring in right now? I'm going to bring in the Tentacruel. Could have brought in the Ferrothorn. Interesting that I brought in Tentacruel. I think Ferrothorn's probably the way to go. But that's fine. I'm going to take this Acid Spray. I think I just want to charge. You see, as of right now, I'm running Sludge Wave. I just want to get a lot of energy. I'm going to take this attack. I think I continue to farm up and throw the Scald. I'm kind of relying on Ferrothorn at this point in time. As long as there's no Shadow Mawile, I should be looking pretty good, I think. I don't know what's in the back besides the Abomasnow. It's going to be a Lantern. I can't make it to a Sludge Wave, I don't think. So my opponent's going to... once I saw the Lantern, I knew it was going to be checkmate because I still have 2 shields. A Flash Cannon is going to KO. Power Whip is going to shut down the Lantern, right? So, totally fine for me. I'm going to go ahead and go for this Flash Cannon right now. This Flash Cannon will be enough to knock that out, as I said. And out comes Lantern, and my opponent will concede. I still have a shield I could take. I resist all the attacks from Lantern. Good game. Tentacruel into Ferrothorn, okay. Not really a great matchup. You know, during these battles, I've been trying to catch, or not trying to, I've been successfully able to catch a lot of Power Whips onto my own Ferrothorn. I don't know if I do it in this specific battle. Let's find out. Power Whip is going to connect. I do take neutral damage, so I can take 1. So I'm going to go... Oh, I guess this battle I don't catch. At least not now. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Sludge Wave. Maybe the next one I do try and catch. That was a CMP tie. I did throw a CMP. I'm going to go ahead and shield this. Going to be a Power Whip. Maybe the next one I try and catch. No, my opponent actually switches. So I'm going to switch into the Lantern. Again, maybe should have went into the Ferrothorn. But these are some early battles I did in this cup. So making some mistakes, it's okay in the early battles. Not a big deal. I'm going to charge up, throw the Thunderbolt. If my opponent wants to shield this, they'll have to double shield again. Go down 2 shields. My opponent is going to go ahead and shield it. Unless if they let the next one go. But I do live this because my opponent is not running Sludge Wave. So, it's going to be an Acid Spray, totally fine. I'm going to be able to get to this Thunderbolt. I don't think my opponent shields this one. I think they let this one go, the Tentacruel go. They do let the Tentacruel go. Totally fine. Out comes Ferrothorn. Unfortunately, I can't make it to an attack, but that's fine. What do I decide to bring in? I think Tentacruel because I want to get to a Sludge Wave. Oh, there's the catch because I knew I wouldn't be able to make it. I knew my opponent just made it to an attack. So I'm going to be able to catch the Power Whip there. My opponent's staying in. This tells me they could be weak to grass types in the back, which is good for my Ferrothorn, right? Definitely good for my Ferrothorn. So an attack coming in. It's going to be Flash Cannon. Makes sense. Flash Cannon is common. I'm just going to go ahead and throw the power right now. Going for the KO. I think my opponent actually shields this. Let's see. Do they shield this? No, they let that go. Okay. So let it go. It's going to be... Ooh, Cool Fish in the back. Okay, Cool Fish. So, Cool Fish and Tentacruel on the same team. Very cool. I know I live in Aquatail. I know this is an Aquatail. Gonna go ahead and take that one. Gonna throw the Power Whip. Power Whip does not KO, so my opponent is gonna let it go. But the next one will KO, so my opponent will have to shield the next one, and then I can safely swap into Tentacruel and go for an attack, right? So I do go for the Power Whip, and now I'm gonna go ahead and go into the Tentacruel, get to that Sludge Wave, and go for it against the Cool Fish. And that is gonna be enough to KO, and that is gonna be a good game. Very well played to my opponent. Well done to them. Well done to them. Let's go ahead and move into the next battle. Tentacruel into Walrein. Okay, so I do resist the ice attacks, which is really good. And again, the surprise factor on Sludge Wave. Let's see if my opponent will shield it or not. Earthquake, obviously I am weak to. So I do shield this one. They actually have the nerve to bait me. I'm just kidding. Nice bait by my opponent. So I'm going to charge up extra. I can't charge up as much, but I can charge up extra. I don't anticipate the shield because, again, you don't want to shield an acid spray, right? So just KO. So even though I shielded the bait, it still worked out for me. I'm just going to go ahead and go for another Sludge Wave. Totally fine with this. I don't think they can spark me down. They have to go for Thunderbolt. So, yeah, going to be able to land that. You'll love to see it. And yeah, my opponent will go ahead and go for an attack right now. And I'm going to have really good alignment. I'm going to have the Ferrothorn on this... Lantern, which is ultimately what I want. Out comes Abomasnow. This is rough. Abomasnow for the backline is tough, right? Because you do have the Flash Cannon, right? But the Lantern obviously does not like the Abomasnow. So generally speaking, you want to bait. If you don't bait, you have to hope they call the bait. I'm going to go ahead and bait here. My opponent does not call the bait. Oh, they do shield it. So that is good for me. I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. It's going to be a Weather Ball. I'm going to go ahead and go for another bait. This one is going to pick up the shield. My opponent really wants to win this matchup. So I do get 2 shields. I still have a shield. I'm going for that Flash Cannon. My opponent gets to an attack. I shield thinking maybe I survive one more Powder Snow. But my opponent actually switches in and throws an attack. So nice play by my opponent. But I'm kind of wondering. I'm like, well... could I farm this down and go for multiple attacks against the Abomasnow? Maybe it will be enough to power through the Abomasnow. Let's find out. My opponent is going to go ahead and go for the Surf. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting Thunderbolt, but I'm going to be able to farm this down. I do have a lot of energy, and I'm going to be able to go for this attack right now. Not enough to KO, and another one wouldn't KO, but my opponent unfortunately makes it. So that is going to be a good game. Well played to my opponent. If you're running Mirror Shot on Ferrothorn, I could see that working because it takes less energy, right? Obviously, it doesn't do as much, but still pretty good. I would say still pretty good because you get to it a lot faster. You have a chance to debuff your opponent's attack, which is really nice. So maybe if we had Mirror Shot, we would have won there, but who knows? Either way, moving in, I'm going to go ahead and take this because I want to go for the surprise factor with the Sludge Wave, but my opponent catches the Sludge Wave. No! Good catch onto their own Tentacruel. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Lantern right now. Lantern gets to, well, it doesn't really want to avoid Tentacruel, but I've seen Tentacruel double grass, so at this point it gets to avoid the other grass type if there is one. And there is one. It's going to go ahead and be Trevenant. Oh, Trevenant was in the lead, right? Yeah, Trevenant was in the lead because I was trying to go for that Sludge Wave. Yeah, that's right. So Tentacruel, so I'm thinking double water. I have seen a lot of Tentacruel double grass, which does well against this team, by the way. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Thunderbolt. My opponent does shield, so we do get a shield. Very nice. Kind of relying on Ferrothorn. I'm thinking that there might be double water in the back because it was grass right in the lead and then grass double water or water double grass. You get the point. I actually make a good catch, able to catch that move. I'm going to bring in Ferrothorn right now. Saving the shield. Don't ask why my Ferrothorn has a best buddy ribbon. I don't know why I best buddied it, but I did. My opponent shields. Something's weak to grass in the back, right? You'll love to see it. So I'm going to go ahead and shield this one. At least that's what I'm assuming. It's going to be a Shadow Ball. That's a good shield. And look at that. Sea King. Oh man, you love to see it. Gonna go ahead and go for this attack. See how much power up does the Sea King. Sea King, I think, could be very interesting, but because of how Ferrothorn and Tentacruel is so common, Sea King might struggle a little bit, but it's still pretty good. I mean, it does have Drill Run for the Tentacruel, so I can just go ahead and go for my Flash Cannon now. I am debuffed from that Sea King, but it doesn't matter. I'm still going to be able to take this game, and that's going to be a good game, very well played to my opponent. So it was double water, it was grass double water. Yeah, usually it's grass. I've seen grass double water, I've seen water double grass. So let's see if this is water double grass. We do have a Lantern. Yeah, not great, but again, the surprise factor with Sludge Wave will do a lot of damage. I'm going to go ahead and shield this attack. It is going to be a Thunderbolt, so good shield by me. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Sludge Wave. I do not expect to shield. Let's see if my opponent shields it. My opponent will not shield it. Still doesn't KO it though. So I'm going to go ahead and actually catch the next attack. So you still have to... Still not the greatest, I guess, because Sludge Wave still doesn't KO. But, ooh, look what comes in. Walrein. So we are taking neutral damage from the Icicle Spear, the Powder Snows. But I'm also dishing out super effective damage, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go for a power-up. So it's not water double grass, obviously. This is another water type, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go for another power-up, but not before the attack comes in, the Icicle Spear. So I'm going to go ahead and shield this one up and get off a Power Whip. So will my opponent want to shield the power-up? They might want to shield this power-up. It is super effective. They do not. So I'm going to be able to take that matchup there. Very nice indeed. What is going to come in? Lantern is low. What else do they have in the back? Show me. It's going to be Kingdra. I make it. I make it because I resist the Dragon Breath damage. Let's go. This is neutral, but I'll take that shield any day of the week. So I bring in Tentacruel. I'm trying to get to the Sludge Wave. I actually overfarm, and my opponent catches it. Oh, man. If I threw right away, it would have landed. Good catch by my opponent. But... the good thing here is an Outrage doesn't KO me and I'll be able to make it to a Thunderbolt. So I was thinking they would go for Outrage and my opponent does go for Outrage. Or not Outrage, Octazooka, excuse me. Going for the debuff. They do not get the debuff, which is good for me. And I'm going to be able to go for this Thunderbolt right now. And this Thunderbolt is going to be enough to KO and I'm going to be able to take that one. Good game, well played to my opponent. Really good catch as well. You love to see it. Alright, next up, Tentacruel into Pelipper. Okay, again, the surprise factor. I would prefer if my Lantern was on this, obviously, right? But what I'm going to do is shield up, and I'm going to throw the Sludge Wave. It is going to be a Hurricane, so that's good for me. But my opponent actually switches. So what I want to do, so because my opponent switches, I do want to win this matchup. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Sludge Wave, and then switch into my Ferrothorn, so I can have the Lantern on that Pelipper, because obviously Lantern loves Pelipper any day, right? So it's going to be a Flash Cannon Mirror match. Trying to get to mine, and I'm going to continue to overfarm. I do get to mine. Very nice indeed. So I'm going to be able to get it off. I don't anticipate shields. All I need to do is go for power. My opponent's not going to shield. It's going to be a Flash Cannon, totally fine. I know the Flash Cannon KOs me, but I make it to my power first. I'm going to overfarm and go for the power, but they actually catch on Pelipper. This is fine going into Pelipper, but we do get a shield, and as you can see, I really want to get out, and I do get out. That farm on Pelipper is going to be delicious. So yeah, I'll be hit with a Hurricane, but as you know, I can take it. Totally fine there. And I do farm down. You love to see it. Trevenant coming in right now. So that was Pelipper double grass, right? So as I said, water double grass, common team. Yeah, going to land that attack. Going to land this Thunderbolt right now. See if my opponent wants to shield it or not. Probably not. They do not want to shield it. Totally fine. I can't be farmed down because I would get to a Surf. So my opponent has to throw the Seed Bomb. This is going to obviously be enough to KO me. Totally fine. And I'm going to bring in my Ferrothorn, get to the Seed Bomb immediately just to get rid of this. I think they have energy on that Trevenant. I'm going to be able to get it off. But they actually shield it. I'm going to bring in Tentacruel, trying to farm down. Do I shield this attack? I think they have enough for Shadow Ball. I do shield it. It is a Shadow Ball. Good shield by me. But the Ferrothorn comes in. I knew Tentacruel lived a Power Whip, though. So I do live that Power Whip, and I get off my Scald, which will be enough to KO this Ferrothorn. And then I should be able to finish off that Trevenant as I'm able to. So, good game, well played. Was that the last battle? That might be the last battle. Yeah, looks like it was the last battle. I actually got an extra small Snorlax, which was pretty cool. I went on to do another set, and I had another 4-1, which was really nice. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording, though. So I'm close to 2800s. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.